I don't know. I think it's safe to say it's going now. So, we've learned a lot from our last video. We learned that, first of all, we gotta speak up because you could hardly hear us in the last one, right?
Right.
And that means you're worse than me. You have to really speak up. Another thing, too, that we learned is that I say too much. So I'm going to try and not say but like if I do, then he can smack me. I give him permission to do that. So I said I didn't say right there. I said Okay. Well, what we want to talk about today is it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard.
We may have mentioned this before, but we've been kind of hooked on these Iranian amateur documentaries of the nomadic culture.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, we just happened to start watching this because we were bored one night, so we were watching YouTube on the TV, and we're just flipping through channels, and all of a sudden we seen this Iranian show come up, and we're like, okay, we'll just watch it. So we watched it, and oh my God, we're hooked on this thing. I mean, it's kind of stupid.
It's kind of a documentary, but it's almost a soap opera. All the drama that's going on between some of these families, like that. Some of them are being helped by others, which is nice.
You gotta talk louder.
Okay, fine.
You just do it,
I'm
man.
not gonna yell.
Just yell.
I don't have a shouting voice.
Well, nobody's gonna hear you if you don't.
Well, that's why we need
Project.
microphones.
Project. We don't have money for that right now. So project.
Okay. Well, anyway,
there you go.
A lot of these shows focus around the daily activities, which they refer to as a relaxed lifestyle. More like poor.
I don't know. It's like they're camping. They live the camping lifestyle, right?
Yep. I
mean, some of them are living in tents. And oh my God, with kids and people coming over, and they're all crowding in the tent and cooking in the tent and eating. It's crazy.
And on one of them, the one guy is trying to build a house that's more like a tiny house, one room kind of situation. And you wonder, how are they doing what they're doing? You know, there's no kitchen; they're always cooking outside.
Well, the thing is, too, is that everybody just builds their own house.
Out of cinder blocks.
Yeah, they just go to the store and buy cinder blocks and some cement, and they start building a house. I mean, there's no regulation or anything. They just, whoop, got a piece of land, got to build a house. So.
But every episode, they're always showing them drinking a lot of tea. They stop everything. They have to have tea like 3 or 4 times throughout the day.
Yeah, like, oh, they're totally into construction. All of a sudden, the lady just stops to bring them tea, and they all stop what they're doing to have their little tea break. So it's kind of interesting. And then one of the things that we're kind of like really interested in. Oh, I said the lady makes this bread, and she flips it around in a way that's like, we tried to do it and we just couldn't do it. We tried to make.
Well, they have a traditional flatbread which they cook out on the grill. They've got this domed pan essentially, which is huge. It's about almost 3 feet around, and it's really fascinating on how they make it. So,
What?
What, the bread? Yeah.
You don't talk longer.
So anyway, I'm really into cooking, so I'm fascinated with how they do this. So, considering that I'm not going to have that kind of materials to be cooking outside all the time and making a huge mess with the bread making, developed a few techniques for how to do it at home, with a smaller scale.
So yeah, so now all of a sudden when we're eating dinner, we have to have this flatbread, and we gotta try and eat it like the Iranians, like break pieces off and like get a piece of the food and break it around the bread. Let's see, we got
Yeah.
some.
But these are smaller pieces, but they fit on a square-sized grill.
Yeah, this is what he made. So, and another thing you gotta do when you're eating it, before you like sit down to your table, like their table is the ground with a piece of plastic put on the ground.
It's like a plastic tablecloth.
Yeah.
Because they eat on the floor.
Yeah. So they always throw the bread on the floor. It's, yeah, like this. They just throw it around. Like it's, I don't know, like it's a,
Like a napkin.
like it's not food, like it's just a napkin or something.
But then they tear it and they scoop up the food.
Yeah, so now we feel like we have to, I don't know, we're really being influenced by these Iranians, and so now we're making this flatbread all the time, and we feel like we always have to have it at dinner. Of course, our bread is organic wheat, by the way. We always do organic, so.
And when the weather gets better, we'll probably be putting meat and vegetables on skewers and cooking it.
Yeah, we're going to try the skewer thing that they do. We're going to, like, I don't know, do it on a hibachi so we can squat down like they do.
Which I have. I've got that.
So we could do that.
Just going to come home from work sometime, and I'm going to be out in the driveway squatting over the hibachi and grilling food.
So the ones that we watch are Sahel, S-A-H-E-L, Nomadic.
Oh, it's S-A-L-E-H.
Oh, I don't know.
You should take notes.
S-A-L-E-H?
Yeah.
Or S-A-H-E-L. I don't know. Something like that.
That's a Sahel Nomadic.
And then there's one more. It begins with a P. I don't know.
Installs.
Yeah, it's the one that begins with a long P word. So we watched that one too. That one's really interesting. It's very simple. It's a very simple lifestyle, but I don't know why we're drawn to watching this. We can't wait when we get home. We can't wait to watch this stupid show on YouTube.
Well, since we don't get out much, we can relate to a lot of the things that they're doing. For example, we're doing a lot of work around the house, based on a lot of time, since they're building houses in both of them.
Well, how about the mud? How about the mud out there? And their lifestyle is just nothing but mud. They got mud everywhere. It rains. They're walking around in their shoes, and their shoes are caked with mud. And they're doing work out in the yard with all this mud on their shoes. It's just terrible.
But they haven't shown them growing anything.
No, I don't know.
They've been seriously to get food, and there's no markets anywhere nearby.
Yeah, they just all of a sudden when they're cooking, they just come up with all this food like chicken and vegetables. I'm like, where did they get that from? It just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, every day. And they don't, only one of the households has a refrigerator.
And and then they always have to have an orange and an apple every day.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah, kind of like me. There's some similarity, I guess. So anyway, if any of you are ever interested, why don't you try and take a look at some of these Iranian nomadic stories out there. They're kind of interesting.
There's some drama, but you have to be kind of forgiving because the subtitles are not necessarily very accurate. They do change genders constantly, and it makes you wonder who they're talking about. And sometimes the subtitles are completely cut out, so you just listen to the dialogue.
I mean, there's a lot, when you're watching it, there's a lot you have to put up with the subtitles and that. And the stories are kind of simple, but I still don't understand what the appeal is, why we're so hooked on it, but we are. A couple of normal Western people watching nomadic people in Iran trouncing around in mud and building these crude houses.
Well, I can relate to it. I'm going back and forth constantly, from different houses, working on houses.
So if you want, just go and have a look.
Search it out.
See if it's something that you'd be interested in watching too. Bye.